Hello and welcome to Encounter Roleplay. Welcome to the Crownlands, our Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire RPG, where we are testing our own streamlined version of the Green Ronin rules, which you will be able to find on Patreon this week. This week we'll be sharing that cheat sheet with you. Bear in mind, we are playtesting it. It's not perfect, but we've done our best between a little crew of us to come up with a slightly more streamlined system. So for as little as $1, which will go towards supporting the cast of the channel, 100% going to them, you will get access to that along with character art, trailers, and anything else I can think of to give you. I have a lot of fun over the weekend brainstorming things to give to you as an appreciation for you supporting our cast. Speaking of our cast, why don't we go around and say hello to everyone? And let's begin with the lovely Susie. How are you doing today?
I was muted. Hello, Charlie. I'm doing real good. Thank you very much. I'm very excited to get into this week to see the aftermath of the great poisoning, to scream "Hoomst" and declare that I will be stabbing some people for said poisoning. Finding out who finally is going to be the ones kicking the bucket. I'm not, because I survived, so I'm pretty chill. I'm happy. I'm okay. And I spent a destiny point to save somebody. I know they're okay. But who else? I don't know.
On the subject of I'm not okay, Nuno, how are you doing today?
Hello, I'm fine. Thank you. Everything is okay. Nothing's gonna go wrong. Yeah, so a lot of poison last week, and today a lot of death, I guess. But yeah, I'm with the Hoomst stab plan. If Aster survives, Whom stab. If he doesn't, then maybe just stab. We'll see.
Was it poison? Question mark. Shauna, you weren't there when it all happened. You were elsewhere with other happenings. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Last week was certainly a ride for Alan. Just like these weird letters, and coming back to half the house being poisoned. So that's great. She wasn't there for it. People died. Ooh, I've waited all week for this, so just see what happens. Survivor's guilt is here.
Excited. I did message Shauna to say, please stand by. We might need new character art. Shauna, of course, doing the amazing character art that you can see on screen right now. Go and check out Flying Ceres for all your character art needs. Sam.
Yes,
not currently
Charlie.
in need of new character art.
No, Charlie, I'm not.
Currently in need of wine, though, apparently.
You've driven me to actual wine in this Game of Thrones goblet. The niceties stop now, right? We're playing this game. We're playing the meta game, and we are playing this whole game. If anyone hadn't spent a fucking destiny point already, we'd be all right. But
Whoops.
Whoops. But in good news, Jamie's bringing a cadre of men from King's Landing.
A little cadre. Yeah.
Cadre. Jamie wanted top men. Very specifically, top men. No bottoms, only tops. Speaking of tops, why don't I hand over to Past Charlie to tell us all about our sponsors here on Encounter Roleplay. Before we begin today's show, I would like to take some time to remind you about our sponsors. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice. All of the beautiful maps and roles you see tonight are done using Fantasy Grounds, which you can try for free at fantasygrounds.com. You can also get all of your miniatures from Wayland Games. Go to waylandgames.co.uk and get yourself a huge range of D&D, Warhammer and 40k minis for up to 20% off regular retail price. And Tabletop Loot, who sell incredible dice. Go and check them out at tabletoploot.com. Always got to do a stinger bop. Very important. Thank you so much, Past Charlie. Please do go and check out Tabletop Loot. Fantasy Grounds, our virtual tabletop of choice that in no way has ever killed any of our characters. And finally, Wayland Games, where you can get war games, board games, and more for 20% off regular retail price. I also want to shout out Wild Anvil, who we've partnered with this season. Hoops! I have been uploading various articles and details to, including all of the letters from the game, which I think are a fairly important part of what is going on, so we know who has been told what. But let's return. Let's return to the castle, the rundown castle, Famine's Hold, in the heart of the Crown Lands. Let's change the music, because it is not about the Tweety Birds today. There we go. We'll click that button. Nailed it. Smooth. Let's listen to the rain as it pours in through that leaky roof, as the damp spreads throughout the hold. As I double check my sound levels, because I can't hear my music. It's not working. Sorry, I'll fix it in a second. So, Adeline, you had been out during that storm. You had seen things in the copse by the crooked tree, found things hidden there, hidden for you. And you'd returned to a house in chaos, a house that reeked of death, and found Allegra crawling, wounded, searching for help. You'd heard that the Maester had gone missing and sent men out to find him, men to find out if anyone had fled the castle tonight. The Maester was found on a darkened bank, frantically scrounging up weeds, promising that he can help, promising that he won't lose to the dark times. And you dragged him back to the hold, to that sick room. On the bed lays Asta beside Danella, both feverish. Felion sits watch over the pair. You see the ravens' cages are all open. All of the birds have been dispatched into the thunder of the night. What do you do, Adeline?
Adeline just looks shaken. She looks like she could be a visage of a stranger themselves, clad in black, her black riding cape, eyes just kind of like distant, like from what she had to do today. And she just kind of like warily just like pulls up a chair to the Maester's bed and just stares at him. You awake?
Yes, my lady. I should help them. He looks towards Asta and Danella on the bed.
Well, you better. We found you in the field trying to find herbs. What were you trying to find? What was it? What's been happening out here?
There's something in the blood. There's always something in the blood. I
don't
needed
care
something.
about a something. I care about making them well. What is it?
I needed something for the fevers. The fevers have to be treated first. Felion kind of nods in beside him.
And what do we need?
He mutters the name of a couple of herbs that grow wild and are fairly common. Describes willow bark as well on the list of things that could be used. You notice in here now, on the floor, a number of vials have been smashed. A number of kind of reagents have been knocked over on the floor. His desk is littered with a mulch of something he'd been trying to make.
Good. If you know what it is, I'll leave one of my men with you to be your aide. Do what you can't do in this state. And hopefully we can figure this out, but one thing remains. And she'll toss the letter on at him. This is why I wasn't here.
I did not give you that one.
I mean, the one that he gave me originally.
Oh. Yes. Yes. The letter. She told me you were to have them.
She, who?
The Lady Della.
And where is she?
Far away, my lady.
Once again, I don't care about vagaries. If you don't know where she is, don't just tell me something. Say you don't know, or that you do know.
He wheezes a cough, and you can see his face is just covered in the sickly sheen of his handshake. She's dead, my lady. Nearly 6 months. But I promised her. I promised when I saw the signs. She told me when. She told me, and I promised. The letters for you. She told me I had to make sure you knew. And he bursts into another coughing fit that just rages and shakes his body.
Yeah, I think Alan just like sits back and just gets drains white. It's like, what is? Just why? How? Was it them? Did they do
what
this?
Them?
You know who I'm talking about. The Gaunt.
Did
They do this.
No, the dark times are not the Gaunt's doing.
Then do you have any idea who?
She spoke in riddles, my lady. So many riddles. I did not believe her for so long, the signs that she said she saw. I thought her mind turned by grief. But then, it all started to happen. And then, the shower of silver at the tournament. 3 days, she said. 3 days. And then a storm. A storm that would wreck the land. And he kind of sways in his seat, and you can see he's getting that 1,000-yard stare. And Shauna, you know, kind of instinctively from seeing people dying on a battlefield, that you probably only have a few moments with this person unless you do something to otherwise keep them here, keep them on this kind of mortal plane with you.
Yeah, I will yell. It's like, we need this and this herb. We need it immediately. Grab some from the stores now. I'm gonna try and help keep him alive.
Okay, I'd like you to make a status command roll, please.
Oh, good. Status command.
So command is a warfare specialty dice, and then your status. Perfect.
All right, cool. Oh, I'm glad I have an okay status and did not.
By the door is waiting one of the Tremaine men, but also Felion is in here. And he seems to be listening to the conversation quietly. He doesn't seem as sick as some of the others. Certainly not dying, as so many seem to be.
Oh, sorry. That was the opposite of what
That's
I
okay.
wanted. Oh, drop one. That's what it is. Ugh. 8.
Okay. Felion stares in his seat as if to follow your order, but then kind of slumps back down. The Tremaine guard says that he will search for you. And kind of moves away into the corridor. On the bed, you can hear a muttering. Asta speaks of death, of a Baratheon, of Jaime, of blood. He whispers the name of his father, of his 2 brothers, Stefan, Marcus, Willem. He accounts for the dead. And then he says Tarla over and over. Danella is quieter by comparison, making only whimpering sounds.
She'll stand up and grasp Aster's hand and like, we'll find your sister and we'll make sure that you do not join your brothers. You're strong and you'll survive this. And she'll get up and she'll put back on kind of her stern command face and just head back out because there's a lot
My
to do
lady.
here. Yes.
She killed to get that word to you. Whatever you found that she left for you, heed those words. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. And the maester turns his attention to the desk, fumbling, shaking hands, moving, and he smudges together this mulch of supplies, attempting to make something. But you can see his body is getting smaller and smaller as he hunches and he struggles to use his strength to keep himself up.
I'll grab him and put him back in that bed and say, rest, because we're not done discussing this. Whatever riddle she sent, we are going to go over it over and over again until we know who did this and why. So for
just
now,
the beginning.
just lay
Yes.
here and rest. Or I'll
Just
have
the-
someone do it for you.
Rest. The beginning. The end. And he kind of slowly fades into unconsciousness, muttering, and you wonder if he even heard your threat. Let us pan for a second. Sorry, go ahead, Jonah.
Oh no, she's just gonna just get up and just head back out.
Let's pan for a second to that feast hall, where many are dead and dying. The remains of their supper strewn on the table, many goblets knocked over, spilling forth red wine, which drips down onto the floor. And beneath the table, coiled up, white fur, whimpering quietly, waiting for his mistress. Adeline, you are in charge of Famine's Hold in this crisis. Allegra told you she'd sent word to Jamie and for help. All of the other Tremaines appear in terrible condition. You're not even sure where half of your family are, and the Night's Watch have returned with the word that they hadn't seen anyone leave, but the storm had been so harsh they'd been sheltering, not wanting to be washed away. And I would like you to tell me, we're going to kind of mess with this to make it a little bit briefer, what Adeline's actions are, either in terms of containment or control or management of this situation.
At this point, I think her main goal is to make sure no one leaves and figure out who is still here, who's dead, who's dying, and just kind of get a handle on this chaos at this point.
Okay, are there any particular people that you were looking for, or is it literally just a body count?
I'm looking for anyone, now that we've asked her, finding Tarla, finding any of the nobles that we've had in the house.
Okay, I would like you to make an awareness notice check.
Okay.
As you discover around the castle, many sick people have crawled to nooks and crannies. They've gone as far as they can towards doors, up staircases, lost in fever dreams.
All right, that's awareness notice. Okay. $17.
Okay, 17 is a great roll. So, you search, you take a count. You find Felion carrying Bastion now to a bed, stepping over the bodies of moaning individuals. It appears that the second will is in a terrible way, much the same as Asta and Danella, it would appear to you, suffering and fading fast. You find Averon Bywater slouched against a wall in the main hall, muttering. Around him, 2 of his men are trying to give their lord another drink, trying to aid, but they are in just as bad a way, while 4 more are already dead. You look around and you see a number of Dornish slumped, a couple on the way to the stables. You don't know when they'd managed to sneak out, tried to move, but they did. But they didn't make it very far. Out in the stables, you find Bryce Rushton. He is slumped against his anvil. Beside him, a lantern flickers. The horses shriek and whinny and huff, and the storm rumbles. All through the castle, dead and dying. 17 is the number you reach when you see that white fur beneath the feast table. A few hours pass during Adeline's search, and Allegra, you are hazy, you are weak, but you refuse to be beaten by that stranger who haunted you all evening. Your family are in this hold, and they are sick too. You sent out ravens, but maybe there's more you can do. What does Allegra do?
So Allegra stumbles back down to that hall where she remembered seeing her uncle in that haze of her fever, slumped against the floor. And she's gonna try and take over from what the men are doing. You know, she's gonna try and get him a drink. She's gonna try and pat his forehead with his fever, you know, get a damp rag or something. Just anything she can do, like basic first aid to save him.
Okay, so I'd like you to roll a healing check. Firstly.
Yep, good at those. I think, no, it's just 2. It's just 2. 7.
7. You've nursed a child with a fever. You know to keep them cool, and that's about what you can do. You have no herbs to offer. Nothing medicinal to give, just comfort and company. And your uncle, he blinks at you for a long while, not processing who you are. What questions or what conversation would you make with your uncle, if you make any at all?
So to begin with, you know, she's just doing that whole, you know, it's gonna be okay, you're gonna be alright, you know, you'll pull through, you're a Bywater. But I think that she will ask him, she says, Uncle, why were you even here? What brought you here?
Allegra. Allegra. He smiles at you and reaches out a hand to cup your cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Such a pretty girl. I met a pretty girl once. Raven hair and tanned skin. I was a pirate once, you know. Did I tell you that story?
And she puts a hand to his and she smiles.
And his voice always resonated. It always had this deep and booming quality. And now it's husky and weak, and there's a wheeze with every intake of breath he makes. And as you place your hand on his, you feel it's burning up. It's red hot to the touch. And even in your fever state, you know he's far warmer than you are. I came to see you. He seems to remember something. I'm at the Tremaine house. And he kind of looks around.
Yes, you are.
The chair's made of a dragon's claw. Ridiculous.
Yes. Yes, but why are you here? What did you want to see me for?
I needed to talk to you about your husband. Yes. The king wants ships, Allegra. And I mean to offer him a fleet. What better admiral than a pirate, Allegra? Yes, I must talk to your husband. Where is he? Where is Yanis?
And she sort of like, she takes his hand from her cheek and sort of, she's holding it and patting it. She says, well, he's at Cracklaw Point. At C's door. He's with the children back home.
And he looks around, and it's almost as if you can see recognition fading from his eyes as he seems to be confused about where he is again. Mm-hmm. And he kind of turns back to you. Allegra. Such a pretty girl.
And she is going to gently shush him as she like cools him down again with like a damp cloth. And she says, shush. We'll talk about this when you're better, all right?
Allegra, where's your mother? I should speak to her.
As he mentions that, Allegra is just like inwardly because she saw her mother in this hallucination. And she's going to lean over and gently kiss her uncle's cheek and just give him soothing words.
Okay, I'd like you to roll something with empathy. Maybe let's go with a persuasion empathy roll.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Yeah, all right.
Because charm doesn't work on a feverish man particularly well. It requires you to understand what it is he needs to hear.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be 25 with 3 6s.
Actual beast. Okay. So, with that, tell me what emotional state you would like him to be in, what you would like him to remember.
She is trying to just calm him and make him feel comfortable or happy. I think as she sort of is calming him, she says, now you listen. I'm going to tell you one of my favorite stories. Ever since I was a little girl. And then she starts telling him his own stories about being a pirate.
Okay. And as you describe the swashbuckling as he had to you, you notice that he is no longer there beside you. He has been carried away. And time passes on. You check on your daughter Danella. You check on other members of the house. You meet up with Adeline, and Adeline helps you. And together you take stock of the situation. Between you, you have time to take another action to contain, control, or manage the situation. What action would you like to take?
Are there any able-bodied... yeah, because Adeline has some, right?
Yes.
Able-bodied
There are Tremaine men that are not sick.
Yeah.
We immediately, I think, Allegra is like, you get them sent out and you bring the closest healers that we have.
I'll do that.
Anyone. And she says anyone, even the Gaunts.
I'll do it. I'm just focused on keeping the healer that we have here alive as well. We should move these men to we should move the ones we can save to a single place, just so we can manage this.
I agree.
Okay, so your action will be to dispatch riders to the Gaunts. Adeline, am I correct in thinking you're riding them? The Gaunts are neighbours. We'll frame it as a broader spectrum than just the Gaunts. You have other neighbours.
I'm trying to...
Or would you prefer to stay at the hold?
I think she's going to stay at the hold.
Okay.
It might be better. It's probably better off. This is in her judgment to stay here. Like she's a.
That's
she just doesn't want to be like set off.
I think on hearing that you are dispatching riders, Felion will offer to ride as well. Would you allow him to do so?
Yes. Right?
Oh, I think Allegra would disagree because Felion is still pretty sick too. Like even though he
is Felion the sick one? Like yeah, no.
Yeah, well Bastian's the super sick one.
Very sick one, and Felion seems to be sick but not dying.
He's not dying, but
riding will not.
For context, Felion is the Lord. For context, so you would be telling a Lord no.
I've got no problem telling a Lord no. I've done it before. I'll do it again.
Yeah,
right.
We'll make...
Susie, I need you to make a persuasion convince roll.
Okay.
If you believe you would lie to him to convince him, then make a deception convince roll.
I'm good with persuasion, to be honest. It's
Yeah, funny that. While you're making that roll, I want to say a massive thank you to Frax, who donates £12 and says, "It seems the gods have given me a heart with which to feel the pain of this house. So I believe that is crits for all, which in this case is a +1 dice all of you to use at a good moment. And Millie will get hers when she returns to the show. So don't worry, that's coming in." What did you roll, Susie?
I rolled a 19.
Okay. On a 19, you can persuade Felion to stay, but he will insist that you send riders, and he will tell you that he sent out the remaining birds.
Yeah. I think Adam will just say, "You may not be willing to ride, but you can do some help here. Assist my other guards that are trying to take control of the situation. If you feel worse, immediately tell them. Don't hide it."
All right, my lady. He agrees, looking tired more than anything. And he sets about helping. I'm going to suggest that your biggest room is the feast hall, but if you would like to remove them from the feast hall and have another large location, you probably have another big room somewhere to put them in. It won't be as big as the feast room, but you could probably move them to that. Then that is your decision, but I need to know where in the hold you're going to keep everyone.
I don't know. I'd say the feast hall is probably the best place because we can lay them out on tables or on the floor, and then we have the food and drink there.
Yeah. Well, maybe we should keep the food and drink separate. Like this is still like a scene. Maybe we should have some place where there isn't like poison that we don't know about, just kind of laying around.
True.
Okay, so you remove the food and the drink from the feast room and keep people in there?
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a good idea. If we just take the food and drink and put it... I mean, half of it's going to be wrecked anyway from people stumbling around in a fever. So we just take what we've got and take it out of there and lay them out in the thing.
Well, we can feed some to the pigs and see if there's any poison in the food.
All right, and I will consider that an additional action that you take.
Don't kill our pigs!
So
we have to figure out if it's poison. I'm not going to try to do it.
Given the condition of the household, it takes time to clear the food and the drink. It takes time to move everyone in, and night is falling. Time has felt strange all day for all of you, even you, Adeline. Everything seems to be moving quickly and slowly all at once. And then you hear on the road the approach of men on horseback. And the call goes out from the guard on the gate to say that riders approach. And Jamie, you have arrived home to Famine's Hold, and there is a strange silence over the place. The weather has been miserable for your ride all day, and you've pushed hard to get here as quickly as you can. You are sodden through and probably quite sweaty from the effort of the ride. And there's a strange eeriness as you come into the courtyard on which the stable is. You can hear the horses are upset, disquieted, but the hold itself seems so still. The number of guards out here far fewer than before. Adeline and Allegra, you may interact, and Jamie, obviously, this is your scene.
I think Jamie and his men would get back off their horses without taking time to stable them or anything. The silence is not great. So Jamie's going to unsheath his sword, and in that movie fashion, I guess, the rest of them follow suit. And he turns to the men and says, "Fan out. And call if you need me. If anyone challenges you, tell them you're with Jamie."
Yes, my lord.
We slowly, bit of a line, good kind of spacing apart, will start slowly advancing towards, or kind of around the castle. Because at this point, I'm reckoning at this point that everything's gone to shit. We've been taken over.
And it feels like that as you pass through this space. There are a couple of bodies that have been left outside. No sense in dragging them into the hold now. And passing into the entryway, there's that smell in the air of death. And just sickness. And anyone in the hold is talking in a strange, hushed voice. You don't come across any sound of fighting. But there's that unsettling eeriness here, like the field after a battle's just finished. That lingering feeling of spirits trapped. And the groans of the dead and dying.
I'll make my way towards the main door.
You push in and you come to the feast hall. And you see now the bodies, the people laid out. And it's not even worth a roll. It's so obvious how terribly sick everyone is in this room. There are a number of Tremaine men trying to contain people who want to escape, who are trying to tear off their clothing, who are acting in strange and disquieting ways. There are those who are just moaning and shivering. And I think Allegra is probably in the room, perhaps tending Diffan, Valerian, who is in here.
Yeah, so you'd see Allegra. Like, she's completely disheveled. Her hair is a mess. Her makeup is like all over her face. She's very pale and gaunt, but she's doing her best to nurse the young Lord Valerian.
Jamie turns back towards the outside and yells at the top of his lungs, "On me!" And then he sheathes his sword and walks into the Great Hall towards Allegra, straight towards her. It's a beeline towards her, and then kneels down. It was too late.
No, Jamie, there's nothing you could have done.
What's happening?
I don't know. We all just got sick. All of us.
And he looks around and he says again, almost in disbelief, "Everyone?"
Everyone.
Has the cadre shown up?
Yes, the cadre return very disciplined to your orders. You're paying them. They do as you say.
He points towards the servants' entrance and says to the kitchens, "Now tear the place apart and find whatever's in there, whatever poisoned these people."
And they follow your order, tearing through that entrance with great strides of purpose. And you can hear it, the wreckage that is being caused in that kitchen the second they enter in. A couple of servants protest, but they are soon kind of kicked out of the room so that the knights can go about their work.
Yeah. I will pull a water skin from my cloak and give it to Allegra.
And she tries not to like greedily drink it, but she's in desperate need of fluids. and just some sort of refreshing. And she hands it back. She says, "Oh, does she know that Tarla's not as missing? Yeah, she's been around the keep, right?"
Yeah, you haven't been able to find Tarla. There's probably like one or two other people you haven't been able to find yet. But you are aware your sister hasn't been accounted for, definitely.
Jamie will look around and he will ask, "Where's Asta?"
Asta's
Tarla.
with the maester. I don't know where Tarla is. Nobody can find her.
Are you good here?
Yes, as much as I can.
I'll make my way to the maester.
Okay. And you find him hunched over his desk. There's kind of herbs clinging to his skin, where he's just kind of somehow crawled from the bed back here. And he's just raspy breathing. And you can see Danella and Asta both in beds in here. They've remained separate from the feast.
I'll approach Asta and ask him of his account.
Asta, you've been in and out for hours. You're not even sure how often you've been awake and asleep, but this next time you've woken, Jamie's there, and Jamie had been there in all of your dreams as well. Jamie had been there to kill you. You were a rebel. You were the enemy. Jamie led the Baratheon to you. Jamie demands an account of what has happened here. But you are awake, Asta.
And I'm wearing my breastplate, greaves, braces, chainmail underneath a sodden cloak.
Asar slowly opens his eyes and looks at Jamie's visage and all his get-up with the armor and the weaponry, and just starts contracting a little bit and receding a little bit in the bed, and just very faintly looking up at... Are you going to do it then? Is it not even the Baratheon? Is it going to be you?
Asta, don't be stupid. I'm here to rescue the house. What's going on?
You led them to me.
What? You're not making any sense. And he turns to see who else is listening.
And kind of lurking in the doorway, for lack of a better description, is Felion. He's returning in with some sort of, I'm going to say a goblet. He's coming in with a goblet in his hand. But he's stopped in the doorway, seeing you there beside Asta.
Well, it's Felion one of the guys I
Felion is
with?
the Scorpion. So he was the knight that was riding that you were betting on.
Right.
You did have a brief conversation, I believe, when Asta negotiated for them to come and see the horses.
But I kind of know who he is, right?
Yeah, you would.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you know the Wills were meant to be here. He's a very tall Dornishman. It's fair enough to assume this is that guy.
So, Scorpion, what happened here?
I wish I knew. One moment we were feasting and celebrating the hunt, and the next fever descended. And he looks down to the goblet in his hand. I do battle with fevers today, but fever is just a symptom, it's not the enemy.
Who is?
I wish I knew. I have never seen anything like this. And he'll come more into the room now. And he'll...
I want to read him.
Okay. So make me an awareness empathy test. Unless you'd like to use a different stat. Sam, you want to discuss that with
Good
me?
enough for me. 13.
Okay. What are you trying to read about him? His disposition?
No, well, if you want to, that's cool. I was looking to see whether he was lying, covering up, had any tells, anything like that for the situation right now. Whatever I could get.
Looking at him, you can see that he shows some of the pallor of being sick himself, and his words seem true to you as an account of what is happening. And looking at the goblet, you can see there are herbs mixed into whatever liquid is in here.
What is
He
that?
appears to... It is to help with the fever of your lord. The Lady Allegra charged me with keeping her daughter and the lord alive. I am doing what I can, while we wait for healers and help.
You'll feed a sip to the maester, and then, after that, we'll give it to Asta.
As you wish. He seems too tired to argue with him as you continue to try and read him in this situation. He goes over to the maester and he kind of grabs him by the hair to yank his head.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like aggressive, it's just, all right, here we go. He grabs his head, pulls it back, and kind of tips some of the seed in, and then kind of lets his head go. How long would you like to wait? How quickly do you think this works?
I don't know. How long were you feasting for?
We're feasting for about 2 hours, 3 hours maybe. I noticed a headache and the men were brawling in the yard. When I returned to the feast, Bastian said he was unwell as well. I assumed simply your kitchen didn't know how to cook chicken. But I've never seen chicken do this.
No. It's not that I don't trust you, friend. I just wonder where you got the contents of the cup. If things are tainted here, then we should be skeptical of everything we put in our food and drink.
He nods. I took the water from the well in the yard and the herbs from his store.
Has there been much searching or accosting of anybody trying to leave?
Your master of arms has forbidden anyone to leave unless on her order.
Good. Where is she?
I don't know. I have not heard her footsteps in a while.
Very well, very well. Please. And he actually indicates to Asta to receive the medical stuff.
And you see Felion hover by Danella, remembering Allegra's previous entreaty that her daughter be saved, but he follows and feeds the Lord first. And Asta, you're being given essentially a drink from this cup, which tastes kind of like parsley floating in water. It's kind of that kind of thing.
I guess at
Green
this point, like
weeds
the
floating in water.
Decent healers. Decent healers.
Just give me some
try
parsley,
this
it's fine.
Parsley, you'll be fine. Yeah. Fuck.
At this point, I guess the liquid kind of would bring Aster to like a bit more of his senses and realizes that this is no longer the battlefield, and Jamie is indeed in a room and not on a battlefield. And Jamie?
My lord brother,
See you.
welcome back.
Where is Tarla?
I don't know yet. Where is Tarla? Have you seen her?
Yes.
Where?
There was this girl and Tarla
Where?
outside. Charlie, last week, remember there was like the scene with the wall, but I do not recollect if Aster was conscious when
Asta
they got
was definitely aware, as you said, of this other girl. It kind of looked to you like there were two Tarlas in a way, and you went somewhere kind of cold and wet, so it would make sense you'd say outside.
Yeah, okay.
But you don't particularly remember where you went.
It was somewhere outside. You have to find her.
will try, but brother, that is not a lot to go on.
Find the girl. She was with her.
Very well. He will just look about. Has Asta had all of the medicine?
If prompted to, yes.
So they can just share it.
Yeah,
with...
I think Felion would have given as much of the dose as he could, but you can probably stop him before he gives him the whole thing, because Asta obviously woke up and interrupted. So, if you want him to give some to Danila, you can tell him to.
Please, my sister's God's daughter. Here, please. And he asks him to dose her up, and then he will leave for the kitchens. I'd like to maybe suggest that the kitchens can lead to the outside, so that I can kind of do some rounds.
Yep.
Cool. So I'd like to head to the kitchen quarters.
Okay, you go into the kitchen, and this place has been torn apart by the men that you had brought. Everything has been upturned, torn through. Various things have been thrown into the great hearth, into the great fireplace to burn. You see them just kind of still sniffing around, looking for other things to destroy, essentially.
Anything? Any poisons? Any oddities? Any hidden compartments? Anything?
Not of interest, my lord. Though the wine smells rancid. And he kind of nods towards this barrel in the corner that's kind of been smashed into with either the kind of butt of a sword or a hatchet, something that is just, the top has just been smashed. You can see bits of wood just floating in this liquid.
I drink a lot of wine, Charlie.
You do?
Can I give the wine a whiff?
Sure can. Let's do a cunning memory test to see what you recall about wine and about smells.
All fucking
All the twos.
What is that?
You lean down.
4 twos, Webby.
And you take a sniff, and there's a kind of vinegariness to the wine that's kind of immediately obvious. But you can't discern anything in particular about it with your sniff.
And he just takes a second to look about the men and says, "Don't drink anything or eat anything." And he will head outside.
Okay. Shauna, would you like Adeline to be outside? You're muted at the moment, friend.
There we go. Okay, maybe
Yeah.
on the way. Damn, on the way. Maybe like the Will said was you can hear the boots and you just hear like angry like she just told like he's over there. It's like fine. And then you just see her like just march straight up to Jamie. It's like I knew it was fucking you. What do you have them doing? They're tearing this place apart.
They're looking for clues.
They're not looking for clues. They're ruining what we have.
The wine's probably poisoned.
As with anything else, yes. You want to help, have them instead of destroying everything. Look for your sister and make sure everyone doesn't leave.
He turns back to the kitchens. And he's pretty kind of rude about it. He's a bit like, "Hoi. Nobody leaves."
As you say, my lord. And Adeline, you can see in this room this group of how many men is it, Sam? Is it about 12 men? I forget the exact number.
I don't think so. It's probably about 5. I don't remember.
Oh, it's less?
How many
Alright, we'll
I
say
paid
6
for.
men. We'll say 6 armed knights. Adeline, you could recognize
5.
the type. These
I
are
literally
people
wrote
who
5
are-
down. Sorry.
5. Okay, so these are basically multi-use fighters. You may even recognize some of them from, tourneys and things like that. Maybe even the tourney of the Hand of the King, because they were there. And, they are armed. They're in their armor. Not comfortable company, probably. And this is who Jamie has brought with him from King's Landing.
It would have been nice if you told me about them. I almost shot one of them as they're rummaging through the hold.
Allegra called for my aid because we were under attack, so I thought this would be the response.
Well, there's nobody here now. It was obviously we've been poisoned. I don't know who it was. It's a mess.
Where's Tarla? We can worry about this later.
That's what we've been trying to find. We can't find her. Been looking for hours. She might have gone into one of the passages. Everybody has been... All of it have been just wandering around for a little while. We've been finding people all over the hold where they weren't supposed to be. It's made it incredibly difficult.
Where have you tried?
We've looked all around. We looked at the stables. We've looked all over the keep. The only place we haven't found her are the passages, and we all know different areas of this thing. It'd be easier if we just focus on that for now.
Right. Without much to go on, I think I'm gonna head to probably the nearest passage I know of. I don't want to measure it too much, but Adeline's just mentioned passages, and I'm like, well, maybe she's kind of run into one of those.
Sure. And if you go out of the kitchen around that wall, it's kind of near where you and Allegra had been talking the day before yesterday.
Yeah, I remember.
And so you slip out, and it's still miserable outside. It's dark, very dark tonight. And the storm isn't as bad as it had been, but it's still here. It's still rumbling around. It seems what had passed in the morning has returned tonight. And you kind of go outside, and the wind is trying to sweep away any light you're bringing with you. But you go around the wall to where that passage is.
I'll first turn to Adeline and just ask, are you coming with, or are you staying here to ensure no one leaves?
I think between our guards and your men, we can make sure that no one leaves here. Plus, another set of eyes wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, and we'll make our way round to that little secret door where Allegra and I were speaking the other night, and we'll head through.
And you push into this dark, and it's a fairly enclosed space. It's kind of a single file walkway in, and the bottom of it is flooded. It's a good 3 inches of water that you are kind of traipsing through, and there's a sliminess to the stone beneath your foot as you kind of push in, but at least the wind is mostly kept out as you step in and out of the bluster.
Can I just take a torch from a sconce before I go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I assumed you had one with you. Sorry,
Sure.
no, I assumed you had one with you. And you're kind of pushing down, and it's got a swampy smell to it, an overgrown, damp smell. And it's very cold. Compared to the internals of the kitchen and the feast hall, it's frigid in here. And you can see your breath catching in that torchlight as you press down. This tunnel, being kind of near the kitchen, I imagine it branched off at one point towards storerooms, something along that line.
Yeah, I have to
and
go
you
with
can
whatever.
press that way, or you can just keep wandering in the dark. How well do you think Jamie really knows these passages?
Shall we roll?
Yeah, let's make a cunning memory test.
13.
And Shauna, roll a 1d6 for your assist.
All right.
I'm just gonna streamline it, so Shauna's just gonna add another d6. To this.
Yay.
All right.
6.
Oh well, I can sub the 1 out, so we just add the 6 to 5,
Yep.
12, 18.
Perfect. So on an 18, you remember kind of as a child playing in these tunnels with a Lego, you remember as an adult scouting them out, trying to figure out which walls you could listen through and where certain places lead, because that's the sort of person you are. And you push down towards that storeroom, and it's exactly where you remember it. And in here, there's a drop down of a couple of steps, and the basement floor of this is just full of water all the way up to that top step line. And there are a number of barrels in here. And you see kind of all up the walls this kind of sticky black.
I mean, I'll do my best to look, not get in it, but I'll certainly try and look through to under it to see if, for whatever reason, this feeling takes Jamie over that maybe Tarla's dropped in and she's drowned or something. And I reckon he gets about knee to almost waist high in it, and he's like, fuck, what? So he's like he's pushing
goes in for the
and
wade, but he's not going all the way in.
And then he kind of stops himself, and he's just trying to look into it as much as possible.
Okay, so because of the conditions, this is a difficult test. I'm going to say you're looking for a 15 to notice anything that might be in this kind of gross water. Awareness notice, and again, Shauna, you can roll a 1d6 to assist if you'd like.
All right.
And then we'll use this kind of as a bonus dice for Jamie. So if it improves one of your numbers, okay, it doesn't. So you're on 16, so you succeed. You kind of wade in and you hold your torch and you bring it down as close as you can to the water. You point it towards those corners furthest from you. You see a shape in the water very briefly that you think maybe that's a person. It's lumpy, it's a form, but the water is kind of swirling with like this mud and debris that's kind of been carried in here. And you'll need to wade in, but you can definitely see a shape in the water.
What do you think, gang?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, like I
hit the stupid button.
Yeah, Adeline wants to like.
You can notice this too. We'll use this as a shared test, even though we're using Jamie's eyes prominently.
Yeah, she'll just go for it.
Alright, so Adeline, you push in and you grope down into that water, and you do find a form. And as you bring it up to the surface, it's a long, decayed body. The flesh is blackened, and the skin kind of sloths off and down into the water, revealing white bone.
Mm-hmm. I think, it's grisly and kind of gross. It's honestly, for her, it's better than finding Tarla down here. Like, it's gross. She's seen a lot of dead bodies.
It's far too old.
It's not her. Oh, there's still more here, though.
He takes a sip from a wineskin.
Jamie, I would like you to make a will test, please. As Lady Purple has given you a bane, and I would like to see how it affects you in this situation.
I'm going to use the keep dice on this.
Okay. I'll update the overlay.
15.
15. For a moment, seeing that skin kind of melt away from that corpse, there's a shudder that runs through you, a sickness. But you take that swallow of wine, and things are grim. A lot of people are dead here. People that you didn't even know had died here are dead here. And you have an uneasy feeling, but nothing that for now will hamper you about your task if you wish to push on.
Where to now?
This was one of the offshoots. Continue a little deeper in. We can't find anything, we'll come back.
Maybe some time to make our whole way around.
One of us should. I just want to make sure. The only option else is outside keep. We've searched everywhere.
Oh, you said yourself, if she's gone, then there's not a lot we can do now, and we can't account for maybe who left with her. Unless we do a head count now and see who is here and who isn't here.
The men can do that. I still want to look. If we don't find her, you've seen what happened up there. She doesn't have much time if she's not found soon.
We didn't come too far. I'll head back the way that we came. If you head round the other way, then we'll meet right on the other side of the castle. And hopefully we'll cover the distance in half the time.
Oh. Yeah, at least if we don't find anything, we don't have to worry about here anymore.
At least then she's not here. Exactly.
God. I hope we're not too late.
We won't be.
And you begin your scout. I would like you both to make navigation rolls as you push into places that may be unfamiliar as you wind your way back. Jamie, yours is significantly easier because you are backtracking and it's familiar to you. As you kind of push in that direction, survival.
Orientation.
Whatever the Russian is. Orientation. That's the word. Thank you. So yeah, you're kind of pushing back in that way, but as you kind of push in that way, the gust comes through and it kind of takes your torch out, which makes it much darker as your source of light fails. All right, so that's a 10 from Jamie, and how did you do, Shauna?
Oh, same thing. Survival.
Yeah, survival orientation.
10.
10. All right.
I mean, could be more.
So Adeline sets off in a direction with her torch, and Jamie, you backtrack, and that gust comes down and takes out, but you can use your hand on the wall, and you know the way you're going. It's just backwards. It's just along this corridor around that bend. And you do it by muscle memory, wading through the dark. The ground beneath you, slippery and slimy, until you hear that gusting wind just howling past the entrance. Loud. Almost screeching. And Adeline, you push on and round, following Jamie's direction. There's a lot of passageways here. And your torch catches a draft as well from an unexpected direction. And you look out and down this passageway and you can see just beyond rain outside. But in your mind, you think, no, the keep should be up there. And you're just not sure where exactly you are for a moment. But you have Jamie's direction in mind, and you push on. And it's dark and miserable in these tunnels, but you find no more souls here. If you would like to make any special investigation on your way through, it will be an awareness notice check. But given the conditions are very dark, slippy, it's muddy, it's wet, it's very difficult. I will also take survival track, if you would prefer.
Yeah, I think Adeline definitely wants to, beyond a shadow of a doubt, make sure she gets a good account of these passages before we...
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see. Check. Oh my. Oh, that's 5.
Very nice.
Okay. You can re-roll drop dice, right?
It depends on what your benefit is.
Yeah, it's any
you reroll
ones
any
that are
ones,
rolled.
right, Sam, and then we take. Yep.
Yeah, it's that.
You would reroll that one, and if it's an improvement, yep. So it'd be 2 more than we have currently. So it'll be 21. Is that not right, Sam? So it'd be 4 plus 6.
Yeah,
10,
20.
No, I just
plus
got
11,
maths.
21.
21.
Okay. Cool. So you are pushing through, and in a way, it helps that it's so slippy because you're looking down at your feet a lot. And you come to a place where the water isn't so high and it's more muddy. And you can see just one footstep, one foot tread that's been left behind. Someone has been down here, and given the conditions, it has to have been recent because otherwise it would have been washed away. And it surely will be washed away if the water continues to build in these tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you both hear it. This rumbling sound of stone on stone. Just audible for Jamie over the howl of that wind, but very audible for you, Adeline, as it seems almost like the castle must be subsiding above you. What do you do?
I'll just yell, Jamie, found something. It's not Tarla. Somebody's been down here recently. Tracks.
Adeline?
This way.
You could hear from an echoey corridor.
Just yell, come here.
As he finally comes upon where you are. He says, "What was that? Where? What?"
I'll point the torch just like tracks. It's not Tarla, but it's too recent. It's made within.
Charlie, do they head into the castle, or do they head out?
This footstep that's been found appears to be heading into the castle. Someone has moved into the castle at some point recently via these tunnels.
How fresh are these?
Very recent.
They're heading into the castle. Is it important, Charlie, what kind of entry point this is? Or is it just they're heading in and I can make up?
The nearest entry point is that hole that Adeline had seen that kind of opens up into rain from here. It almost seems like a broken tunnel as you kind of look down that way. That's the closest entry point, but they could have come from anywhere in these tunnels as you have.
But they're heading into the castle, aren't they?
Yes.
Right, so no, sorry. So what I meant was, where does this lead to in the castle?
Where
is
does
that
it exit
is
out
that
to?
important?
There are a number of exit points here that you know of. One kind of leads out to the main foyer. There's just kind of 100 yards or so up ahead. But you know these tunnels are just everywhere, and they lead like a warren through.
We should follow.
Yes. No one knows about these. None of my people are down here.
No, I can hawk, but I'm not a master tracker.
We can find something if they're down here. At least we'll figure out why they're down here, where they went. See where it comes out.
I take your lead.
All right.
Okay,
Go
I'd
further.
like another survival track roll as you attempt to follow and find any more tracks down here.
I'll assist. Let me assist.
Okay, you can assist. You can roll a 1d6 and we'll treat it as a bonus dice.
Also,
Okay.
you have a keep dice on it.
Please just keep that.
Yep, keep dice. So we'll have two. Is it two? It's adds
So this
two
will be an
bonus dice.
additional 1d. So this
Okay.
goes into your... You don't drop that dice. This is not bonus dice. This is the keep dice. And then you'll get an
Oh, keep
additional...
dice, yeah.
And then
Might
don't
be
worry about the
easier.
additional bonus because Jamie rolls it.
Okay.
Because I like to keep you included, Sam.
Okay.
Okay, I'll okay, that makes it pretty easy then.
I'm hovering. I'm
So
ready.
basically, increase your ability rank
Oh,
by
boy.
1.
All right, there we go. Let's just do this. Okay.
Can I get
Okay.
better than a 4? No.
Oh, that's still good.
All right.
Cool.
So you push on and you discover a number of kind of small storerooms and crevices along this way. And you see not on the floor this time, but on the wall, handprints, a number of handprints. And Jamie, you know how you groped along the wall earlier. Someone has groped along this wall, finding their way. And you follow this, and you come out to a strange, it's almost like a broken wall, where it's kind of overlapping with another piece of wall, and there's like a tiny gap that you can sideways slide through. It's more difficult for you in your bulkier armor, but you slide through, and you come out really close to the maester's quarters.
Okay. Are we in like a little antechamber corridor type affair?
Yeah, it's like a little corridor outside the maester's corner.
Sure.
Which leads to that courtyard with the well in it.
Oh.
Which is another way out.
I'm not sure whether this is someone entering, doing the deed, or whether this is someone trying to leave somehow.
That doesn't necessarily change the fact that they were here. In or out. The hold isn't as secure as we thought it was.
No.
If they were here to do what they did above, they knew enough to come down here and quickly escape. Damn it. We should have mapped these out better.
As your roll was so high between the two of you, I'll let you reinspect those handprints for any further clues. It will be an awareness notice test, however.
Hey. Awareness notice.
Oh. It's handprint, innit?
It's a handprint. It's smudgy. That person has dirty hands.
Ooh.
It's Tarla! No.
21.
Whoa!
As you look at the handprints, as you slip back into that dark tunnel with the torch to double check to see if you've missed anything, you look at them again and you kind of hold your own hand up to them. You realize these are small handprints. This is likely a woman, maybe even a child, based on the size of them. They could be Tarla's, but it's unlikely a man. Unless the man has small hands. They do exist. But as we do CSI Tremaine, that's your clue.
Yeah, I'll back in Jamie over and just kind of do that same thing. It's like, I don't think it's too small to be a full-grown man's hand. What's going on?
I'm gonna head out towards the. I'm gonna head out into the courtyard with the well. First, I'm not gonna be silly. I'm gonna look down the well,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna try and figure out if it's been tampered with. I wish I had something more clever, but I just want to see if it's been tampered with.
This is the well that Felion has been taking water from, that you saw him feed to your brother and the Maester and Danella. And you kind of peer down, and you see only the vaguest reflection of the rainy sky above. The bucket kind of is sat on the side, waiting to be kind of dropped down to heave more water up. Which would be the next logical step for Jamie to take. So just speed things up. Does Jamie bring some water up to check the water?
Yeah, I will bring it up and I will give it a whiff. I don't want to. Okay. I don't want to chance it, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you bring it up and give it a whiff. It smells like water. Do you have any expertise in smelling water?
No, I even have a fucking 1 in healing.
I was like, healing was the only thing I could really think. It smells like water to you.
Cool.
Same as this water's kind of always smelled.
I will just let this bucket go let's slash down into the well. And I will look around, or I will invite Adeline to look around, seeing as she is the better survivalist.
Okay, yeah.
Adeline, as you look around, what are you looking for?
Just signs, of tampering, of anything that's not supposed to be there.
Okay, so this will be another awareness notice test.
All right. 18.
Okay. You scout around this courtyard. There's evidence of kind of comings and goings in the mud, which is fairly normal for this space. It's a used space. The maester's been out here. You can see Fellion's feet here. And in fact, you can see the Lord himself as he kind of lurches out of the castle to retrieve more water for the sick, and he regards you both. Well, have you found anything? Where are the healers?
I'm sure they're coming as fast as we can. With the weather, it's going to be a little delay, but we're going to have to make do with what we have. I don't like it either. We just have to.
My brother is dying, and he punches out and he strikes that bucket that Jamie's kind of got up on the side that he'd been sniffing. And we'll say this is like before Jamie goes to drop it, and he just punches the bucket, and you hear the crack of the wood, and the whole thing goes sploshing down back into the well. And he looks to the two of you, and his eyes are just full of this rage and pain.
Oh,
I'm no good to you in their healing. But I can try and find out what happened here. And I can try and find anyone else who is in need. Any of your men missing? Women? Children?
Everyone that was with us is accounted for. Where were you? Were you not meant to be at the hunt?
I was called to King's Landing. Then you are lucky, for your party is with you, because we are missing one of our beloved sisters.
And he kind of frowns and...
The Lady Tarla.
And he looks around as if he's going to magically be able to spot her here in this courtyard, kind of hopeful. Where was
By all
she
means.
last?
She was in the hall when all this happened.
Yes, she was.
As with a lot of others.
She was feasting with us, yes.
Yeah. It's with the rest of them. Ill, panic, they wandered around.
She was with the Lord when I brought Danella to the Maester's chambers, I think. I remember the hair, I think. And you can see he's racking his brain, desperately trying to find something helpful for you. Ask the Lord.
His Lordship hasn't seen her now. His Lordship sent me to go and find her.
That's what you were talking about when I came in. And he seems to remember now the conversation you were having.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if I can help. And he kind of stands there not knowing what to really do. This isn't a situation he's particularly used to. We will find out who did this.
Oh, we'll definitely find out who did this.
I'd like to march into the feasting hall.
Okay.
And I would like to shout to everybody, my lady's sister, Tarla Tremaine, is missing. If anybody has any information of where she went, where they last saw her, speak to me now.
Mostly you're answered by groans and moans. A few people try and give you what they recollect, but it's little to go on. And for the sake of brevity, is there an action you would like to take, Allegra, Jamie, and Adeline, to control, contain, or manage the situation?
I mean, this is me trying to get this accounts of trying to piece together what her movements were. That's my
You
action.
kind of get, she was feasting with us, she was here, she left to get help, someone tells you. But generally no one seems to know anything about where she went after that.
Okay.
As far as you can gather, Asta was the last person to see her.
Sure.
Yeah. I think Adeline herself is going to go continue looking for Tarla, but she's going to order her men to find those herbs that will kind of delay the ones that the Maester wanted. Delay. Make sure we have enough. Go looking for it if we don't. Just make sure we have a good supply to take care of these people that are able to be saved.
Okay, so make another command roll for me. As the storm is picking up outside, people are scared. There's a lot of people dying here and no one seems to know why. No one knows where Tarla is. And, significant people are now dead. Okay. On a 14, a few good men agree to go. They take your descriptions of what to go and find, and they promise they'll kind of scour the place to find as much as they can for you. And they go out into the night. Allegra, is there anyone that you would be talking to or any action you would be taking?
I think she's definitely fussing the most around. Hang on, let's look at this list of who's frickin' dying. I think she's definitely fussing around Bastian and the Lord Valerian. Anyone who's kind of like important, that sounds really tight and horrible and mean, but anybody who is like a lord or of nobility, she's focusing extra hard to keep them alive. Eventually she's going to help whoever she can, but a bit of extra attention to the important people.
It makes sense. And you kind of feel pretty sick yourself. Being around sick people isn't helping that feeling. But I'm going to allow you to make a heal test for both Lord Valerian and Bastian Will.
And like she knows Danella is being taken care of, right? Yeah. Valian has got like that shit on lock. So she would like just in the
most recent update,
narrative.
Danella and Asta are stable in the Maester's chambers, being treated by Valian.
In the narrative, she's like, "My daughter dead. Cool. No, all right, let's keep going." But
no, she has me like.
Yeah. Okay, so should I use keep die? Is this 2 checks for both?
It's 1 check for each.
Oh fuck. Okay, so here's my first one for Lord Valerian. Oh, that's a 2.
Okay.
Oh no.
And it's for Bastian. It's a 10.
Okay, so you use herbs that are brought to you and you feed them water, but the Lord Valerian doesn't seem to be responding. He remains kind of in this feverish state, shivering. Bastian, by comparison, seems to be not getting any sicker, seems to be becoming more lucid when he does come around. Not helpful in any way, but you believe that you have helped him not die this night. And what I would like to do now is kind of fast forward a tiny bit to embrace the next few days at Famine's Hold as the stranger walks the halls, and occasionally Allegra catches that movement out the corner of her eye as the fever lingers in her mind. And Adeline and Jamie, you're obviously continuing to work to find out where the fuck Tarla is. That's kind of priority number 1. You've sent out riders. A number of them come back, and they say that, aid is being sent by the houses soon. It seems a number of your neighbors are reticent to send people into a place where lots of people are dying and no one knows why. But the Gaunts have promised they will send their maester, and that is the word that you've had from them. There is a personal letter for Tarla from the Gaunts. So you can let me know if you read that. And Allegra, you also receive a letter over the course of those 3 days.
I any letters that come in, I'm reading them.
I 100% read that fucking letter to Tarla.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is not. This is.
We have a
It's from the
family
gaunt.
meeting to read this letter.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's run this as you gather in the Maester's chambers where Danella and Asta are. So it is your true whole family gathered for the reading of the letter. There is no Maester here now, and the bird is unhappy. As you wrestle. Oh no, it's not a bird. Ignore that. That's Allegra's letter. You have the letter brought in from the rider. And the birds are not happy. The ones that have returned. Some of them didn't return with anything. One returned with a letter for Allegra. You open up that seal. Who is reading the letter? Okay, Jamie, it's in your hand. You open it up.
Yeah.
And it says very simply, Dear Tarla, I hope you are well. I am deeply concerned of the news sent from Famine's hold. And I pray to the Seven that you are not amongst those suffering. And I promise what has been done against your family will not be allowed to stand. I prepare the charge, Wendell Gaunt.
Well, there you have it. Short. Not all that sweet.
To the point. No.
But not enough to send any goddamn aid our way.
Have any Silent Sisters approached us? Anything?
You did have come up from the town, basically a woods witch, who had heard what had happened, and she's kind of been helping out in the gathering of herbs. But how much you have faith in what she can do is up to you and your individual characters. This is basically a local lowborn woman who said, I'm a healer, let me help.
It's better than nothing.
So we have.
It is. I'm sure there's the general amount of skepticism with her work, but she keeps doing all right, then we'll keep her going.
No more people have hopefully died with it when she's treating people so.
I hope so.
Maester Horace has died, along with Lord Aberon, who we knew was dead. A number of Dornish and the Bywater men are dead. Currently, Diffin Valerian is still alive, as is Bastian Will. Danella and Asta are currently still alive. Bryce Rushton remains dead. That hasn't changed. And unfortunately...
It's Game of Thrones, who knows?
Who knows? And
Good.
unfortunately, Clay Dorsey is also dead.
F's. Well, it's a good thing that Valerian's still alive.
I have a question for you in the management containment control scenario. What do you do with the bodies of the dead, which do also include members of your household? Although less of them than the Dornish contingent and the Bywater contingent in total.
We have to keep the Highborn in a decent preservation state. We have to send out letters, see what they want to do.
They really need to be prepared by a Silent Sister and seen over by a Septon. Their children should watch over them, as tradition dictates. But I don't think we have time. Not at the rate that the bodies will decay.
Much I hate to say it, everyone else we just have to dispose of. We can't keep them all here.
The wise woman deeply agrees with this conclusion that you should not keep bodies here. Bodies that have been touched by the stranger is how she describes it.
We should build a pyre. If it is disease, let's burn it out.
I don't see why we should desecrate noble corpses.
No. We'll keep them in the cold storage. Clearly all the food here is tainted anyway.
Yes.
I would like to send my cadre off with whatever cash I've got left. Frick it. 154 stags to go and buy us some untainted fucking food and drink.
Mm-hmm.
I asked him to get me wine. Jamie low-key hits the bottle hard over the next few days.
Okay.
Just with this desolation poured in front of him.
Let's do a sobriety test for Jamie in this scene. Let's do your endurance test, because as we know, alcohol is a poison in Game of Thrones.
I took some alright endurance, but yeah, he is drinking to excess. Slowly and quietly, but drinking to excess.
Yeah, it's an accumulative, was definitely how I was imagining it as well.
You could hit the box, you can't hit the... Do you know what? I didn't hit the box. Fucking hammered.
Okay.
If I can't hit the box, I can't roll the dice.
Alright, so Jamie, you've read this letter. You've agreed to ban the people who don't matter, save the people who do matter. You've sent your men out for more wine and get the food while you're there. And you find yourself surrounded by your family in this desolating moment. And you look over to Asta, who is clinging to consciousness. And no. Is there anything you would like to do before I ask you to make your endurance roll?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. After Jamie left the room, he was sat there and he was thinking about things over and over. And if I recall correctly, there was Tarla last session was still sick as well, and we both went towards a place with a brief moment of clarity that the partially water brought us. Do you think there might be any inkling of a memory lingering that might know where that scene took place? Or not exactly the place, but if it was it outside, was it in...
With your reduced cunning, I'd like you to make a cunning memory test.
Okay. That will be... And -1 as well because of the wound, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So that is...
I do want to say a massive thank you to Jay Britton, who raided us a little while earlier. Thank you, Jay. It's great. Can't wait to see you on Wednesday for Zweihander. Shout out to Millie, who's hanging out in chat as she's journeying back from where she's been today. Sorry, Millie. Nuno.
What?
Rolling like a champion as ever. Do you want to use your keep dice retroactively to see if you can improve that number at all? It's up to you, or you can save it for future rolls.
No, I'm gonna save it for the roll, because I feel like that's gonna be necessary given this again.
Okay. So what I'll say is you just keep going back to the wall. You do remember the wall, and you remember 2 Tarlas. That becomes more and more concrete in your head. There were 2 Tarlas, and we went to the wall.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think that was the main thing that Asta would be thinking about, Tarla. I must remember where Tarla is, and nothing else. I think, yeah.
Okay. So, Nuno, I would like you to make your endurance roll.
Alrighty.
Your required target number is a 9 because last episode you made your first roll. You have a +1 keep dice from Tarla's friend. And then it is your endurance plus any resilience specialty you have. It will be at -1 because of your wound.
So
Use the keep dice. Use it.
I will use the keep die because you've seen why. And that is 3 endurance plus 2 keeps, and then the wound 1 bonus. So 5d6 1. Okay.
You succeed.
2-1
Very
still.
proud of you, Nuno. I'm very proud of you all the same. So Asta, after this kind of third day, as you wait for riders to return, for help to finally arrive, Asta's fever breaks. And it seems as if the Lord will survive whatever it is that has happened here. The smoke from the pyre rises outside as the bodies are burnt. And I would like to take this moment now to set player agendas. This agenda I intend to carry through into the next episode unless you manage to resolve it in the last hour of play we have today. Normally we do this at the start of the session, but because we had a lot of little things to resolve first, I wanted to kind of get to this point. So Susie, from this point, what is Allegra's immediate actionable agenda?
Immediate actionable agenda is to read Janice's letter to find out what he's talking about, and aid her siblings in discovering who did this.
Okay. Nuno, what is Asta's agenda?
Point number 1, find Tarla. Point number 2, figure out who did this.
Okay. Tarla, followed by Hoomst.
Exactly.
Sam, what is your actionable agenda?
Find Tarla, Hoomst, stab.
3-point agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, for specificity, what are you going to do to try and either find Tarla or find out Hoomst?
I mean, I
I have a
think
question for both of you, because that's both of you.
we haven't got a lot to go on, and that's the most annoying thing. We've got people's witness accounts. Like, we could do fucking research on poisons. We don't have a maester anymore. Great, thanks for that. I don't think there's going to be much evidence. What?
Yeah.
We go to where the gossips are. We go to King's Landing, and we fucking find out, because people get chatty, right? And people are going to be talking about it.
I'm going. He's just like a yo-yo back and forth to fucking King's Landing. I can. We can play the King's Landing angle if you want, but like, I don't know.
Option.
I mean,
Yeah.
it wouldn't hurt to like cover that base at least. There's
know
nothing
the
here.
Are due to send their maester is due to arrive today, kind of thing.
Okay.
So you have a
Okay.
maester coming. It is a gaunt maester, so take that however you'd like to take that.
Like, one thing I think I would want to do, but I would want us to do, is try and figure out what it was. So what the characteristics of the poison were. That's something, right? Like,
Like, couldn't we have like I told them to feed the food to the like basically make the pig a taster, so maybe we can figure out what was.
Okay. So what I'll do then is I'll break this down for you as a list of what you can discover. You will discover that everyone who was in the feast hall who consumed food or drink in that feast hall became sick. This included the servants who were in the kitchen who ate the food and drank the drinks. And it unfortunately included Allegra's dog. The pigs also become sick and die when fed with the food and drink from the feast. The symptoms, it begins with a headache, which grows into a severe headache, kind of like a migraine as we would think of it. It develops into a fever and then very quickly descends from there as the body begins to apparently shut down. It's not modern medicine, so you can't really identify the organ failure as what happens next, but that's essentially what would happen next. You further can investigate that wine. And to Jamie, it's disgusting. You don't know why this would be served, why it would be brought up if it was in this condition. The barrels are clearly moldy. But you also know that you caught a number of animals from your lands, and they were on the feast table. You can inquire with kind of the local town, and there seems to be a lot of problem at the moment with the crop. But this has been attributed to the storm and the second storm that came along. In fact, people have been arriving to kind of have complaint with the house to say, I can't give you any tithes this quarter. My whole field has been destroyed. I have nothing to sell, nothing to do, which isn't helping your situation. There's a lot of rumor already spreading that you were poisoned. You know that the Wills use poison, and it definitely, from Felion, becomes, in his head, a scheme to poison him and Bastion. He's convinced. He becomes more and more paranoid. That's the impression you have of him, particularly around Jamie and Adeline, who were both absent, who were both healthy, who somehow avoided this. You know, suspicious that you have pre-knowledge. But he's not so badly disposed towards you that he's leaving immediately. He is definitely waiting for Bastion to better recover. Valarian is kind of very confused about everything that's going on, doesn't believe there's anyone who wants him dead. And that's kind of as far as that goes. He asked Jamie if you took the letter, if you heard anything while you were in King's Landing. And you kind of explore the tunnels a little bit more because you have time to do that. You've got men to do that. And you find they literally weave and wander all around. And you find that there is, where you heard that subsidence in the night, one of the tunnels has collapsed and it actually led down to the river. So that's kind of the information you have. You become more and more suspicious, but with the Maester arriving, you believe like he could probably test the things that you've narrowed it down to. Some food, which is now turning rancid because it's been a few days, and the wine.
Have there
we
been
need to
any...
identify what it is, right?
Yeah. Have there been any reports of sick animals or just dead carcasses throughout the land, or just everything's fine?
I don't think anything like has especially been reported. There aren't just farm animals dropping dead all over the place, but there is a kind of a rise in sickness amongst the animals, but mostly the farmers are saying it's because the weather is shit. And the weather it's appalling here. It's been miserable for days. The storm has eased, but it's still raining constantly, and the ground is constantly sodden.
Okay.
But in good news, there have been no additional cases of sickness since that night. So whatever you did in your containment and kind of control of the situation has prevented anyone else from getting sick. Tarla remains unaccounted for, as do 2 members of the Tremaine household, 2 servants.
Any of these servants female?
I think one of them would be female, yes.
Did you share with us all that this handprint was small?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Immediately.
And I guess if we did have a couple of days, Asser would have shared that there was this girl with Tarla that looked a lot like Tarla. Might have been hallucinations, but he doesn't think so.
Well, does it stand to reason then that one of our household was paid maybe to poison us?
It's something that has definitely crossed my mind.
For what, though?
Money?
Money? Have you seen this place?
Paid. Whoever wanted any of us dead.
It's far too poetic, but famine's hold to come down to a sickness from the food it was serving its guests.
Yes.
Charlie, I would like to research if the house has ever suffered from any curses magical or otherwise, that are about this kind of thing?
Okay. We have established you have kind of like an annals collection going on, and you have the Maester's notes, which you have access to because he's dead and he can't say no. So make me a research roll.
Jesus.
Fucking hell. Bless you, whatever your name is. Good on you. 10.
You research through, and in the past there have been a number of tribulations that your house has faced, and far too many of them connected to betrayals and treachery. Some of them you were treacherous in the action of. You go all the way back to the beginning, to the founding of the house, and a story of two friends who reached the eastern coast of Westeros and chose their plots of lands, connected nearby the port of Duskendale, the Isles of Driftmark and Dragonstone, as it would become known, the connection to Essos just across the way. These two friends formed two houses, House Tremaine and House Gaunt. So close, they were nearly brothers, it is said. But at some point in that history, two brothers turned against each other and conspired to take from each other, to conquer each other, preferring quiet and subtle means that went under the nose of their greater lords. A blood feud. And you know that the Gaunts have a sept that was built on their land, an illustrious dedication to the Seven. But you know too how deep and old your lines run. And it doesn't seem unlikely to you that if an enemy's put a curse on you, perhaps they did a long time ago. But you recall too the atmosphere of King's Landing as you left, this great storm that had risen up and wrecked so many ships. People saying it was a conspiracy, and others saying that the gods are stirring. There's rumors about R'hllor arriving with red priests here in Westeros. The spookiness of Brynden Rivers and his connection to old magics and to dragons. And you've read a lot about Valyria, you've read a lot about dragons, and there's a lot of magic in this world. And so it doesn't seem unlikely to you that there could be a curse here. There have been before. Maybe not, this exact same thing where every 12 years the entire family struck dead mysteriously. But there are things that aren't easily explained. And there are other enemies that you find in your history, other people that you've crossed. People who you barred from being in the hold when conquerors attacked. People you tried to deceive. And the river runs high. And it's possible that your groundwater is now becoming infected with whatever the river carries. But every day as you sniff at that well, and it doesn't smell like wine, which is deeply disappointing to you, it still smells just like water.
Alright.
But Jamie, I would like you to make an awareness notice test.
$12.
As you leaf through the Maester's collections and the annals, you find a number of notes. Notes addressed to Adeline. All of them sealed with the Gaunt seal.
I'm gonna go to Allegra.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
addressed to Adeline.
Do
Note
you
the
know
seal.
where? Do you know where Adeline was the night of the feast?
Away, I'm to believe.
Chasing a ghost. She'd received a letter from Della and had gone out in search of something, saying that she might never come back, that she might die.
Story has become spookier the longer I'm investigating it. You'll note the seal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you care for some wine?
God, yes. So what do you want to do? Do you want to read them? Give them to Adeline? Burn them?
No. I want culpability. I want you to read them.
Ah, I see. Shift the blame. And she'll just hold out her hand. Give me a... And I'm going to very carefully pop open these letters.
Okay. The letters are out of sequence, although none of them are dated. So they kind of appear to lack a lot of logic for you.
Mm-hmm.
They are addressed to Ada and always signed with a D. You must stop the mother is the first that you read. The next that you read says, I know that you doubt me, but go find my sisters. Please, Ada. And the last that you open up is simply an illustration of 3 dragons arranged in kind of like a triangle, and in the center of which is a symbol that you do not recognize.
The mad woman's ravings. Look at these. It's nonsense. You must stop the mother? What does that mean? The mother, as in the 7, the mother? Our mother?
Our mother.
Her mother?
You are a
Me?
mother.
Yes.
I don't know. And what is this? It looks at the symbols.
I have no idea. Nonsense.
3 dragons, the dragons of House Targaryen.
Yes. Something in the middle.
Stop the mother. What was the second?
I know you doubt me, but you must seek out my sisters.
My sisters. Some mystical sisters, perhaps? The Sun Sisters? Have there been
Woods
any...
witches? Something? I don't know.
Have there been any orders of sisters? Who is
That
Dee?
I know of. Do you not remember when Adeline was younger? Della, the gaunt? The one she
Oh,
almost
right.
threw everything away for?
So they are still conspiring together then.
Looks like. I really don't want to believe this, Jamie. Adeline has been beside us since she was born, since she's been a loyal family member. Maybe she hasn't.
Maybe she hasn't. It's nothing to move on yet.
No. Jamie, I don't know if we're safe here anymore.
I've been working on Lord Velaryon to try and gain some kind of sponsorship to King's Landing. If I were to get it, you could come with me.
Before Uncle Aberon died, he spoke of wanting to speak to my husband about ships. Maybe that's our way in.
His Grace wants to send a fleet to Tyrosh. I'm to understand. The Master of Ships is nowhere to be found.
Well, luckily for me, I live right on the coast with a wealthy husband.
Perhaps King's Landing isn't necessarily our destination.
Hmm?
And perhaps Craiglore Point is our destination. I haven't visited yet.
You haven't?
Mind you did say it was quite gloomy.
It is, that's true, but we could brighten up the place. Besides, I'd love you to meet my mother-in-law.
Sure, I'd be charmed to do so.
I'm sure. But what about the others? About Asta? About Tarla? She's still not been found. I would love to think that she ran away and she's living somewhere in the woods with her damned horse.
I think it's probably a bit more grim than that.
Yes.
Are we doing this? Are we leaving for Craiglore Point?
I'm ready to go, but Asta's another thing entirely. He won't want to leave.
I wasn't thinking of Astor necessarily.
And Allegra's going to reach over and take Jamie's hand. We've got to stick together, Jamie. Protect each other. We're all we have left.
Always hungry. It's funny. I search my heart, but I'm not finding any fire and blood at the moment.
And she's going to squeeze his hand again and say, we've always been more Bywater than the other half. Both of us. Let me know your decision. I have a letter to write to a very panicked husband.
Please, by all means, don't let me stop you.
And I like gonna go, and she's gonna just have a quiet evening to herself as she's just like
Now, Shorter, we didn't establish your agenda. What is Adeline's agenda?
Adeline's agenda is, find Tarla. And then find out who did this so she can kill them. The second secondary.
Helps if I move the mic back close to my face. Thanks, friends. So what I'd like to ask you is, what is the action you take to try and find Tarla?
I think she's gonna take whatever time. Like, she is probably not gonna sleep that well. So anytime that, like, she's gonna take time where she's not in charge, just to, like, look around, see if she can find her.
Can I perhaps propose, before that happens, a summon would come to Adeline as Aster requests her presence for a private conversation.
Okay.
I just want to say a quick thank you to Architect Origin for that donation. we will be working that in. It is a boon for the player who succeeded on the most poison rolls, which I believe is Allegra. Technically, you all succeeded on the same amount, but Allegra succeeded first, so Allegra will gain a boon. But Nuno, Asta summons Adeline, and Adeline answers the summons.
Yeah, she's gonna take a look. She's not looking that great as this time has gone. She's looking like a little more haggard. Like there are like kind of like dark circles in her eye. You can obviously tell she hasn't been sleeping. Probably, maybe not at all the last couple days. Yeah, she'll come as soon as she can.
Okay. So yeah, as you walk in, probably Asa would still hold this meeting in the Macer's chambers for reasons. And as you walk in, there's like a bunch of paper on a desk with what seems to be some attempt to sketch the pathways of the secret tunnels. Some of them just crumpled on the ground and just discarded, some of them midway through. But at the moment, once you walk in, he's just like staring out the window, watching the rain fall against the wall.
I came as soon as I can. I still... Nothing. Can't happen.
Adeline, thanks. So, no news, yeah?
Nothing, no. Good or ill, I don't know what's worse at this point. Like, I'm find her or don't find her. Not anymore.
Well, whatever happens, it will happen. Sooner or later. Whatever it is. But that is not why I called you here. I've been thinking, I've been alone, trying to understand, kind of point at the papers, these tunnels. I have this feeling that if we can understand them, we can find Tarla. But I've been thinking about other things, about who might have done this, about letters, about something you told me before the hunt. You said you got a warning about the Gaunts from someone that you trusted.
Yes, I had received several letters around the time of the hunt from... You might have been too young to know, as it was 7-8 years ago, from Danila Gaunt, apparently.
I think I know the name, but why would they send you letters?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. The letters are strange. They speak of, honestly, porns I have no idea the meaning of. And the Maester, it's disconcerting because the Maester, before he passed, told me that she had been dead for months. And that these letters were posthumously sent.
Months. So
I am sorry that I didn't tell you. Apologize. It's a failing on my part as the Master at Arms, and look what happened.
Adeline, you got a warning that something was about to happen, and I disregarded it. So that was on me. That was my fault. But where were you on the day of the feast? I don't remember telling you to go.
And I didn't ask for permission to go.
Exactly.
It was to the tree on the border of the Gaunt lands. I was expecting I was honestly expecting it to be the work of her brothers. You know how they have it out for me. I thought it was going to be most likely an ambush. That they're going to finally... Yeah. I wasn't expecting to come back, in all honesty.
And you decided to go alone, without support, without telling anyone. Somehow, that was fortunate. You weren't here for the feast. You didn't fall sick. Like us and Tarla, who's still missing.
But the part that worries me is the part that it seems like I was singled out to not be there.
And why is that, Adeline? Sounds very, very strange. A dead person sends you a warning of something that's going to happen in the future. And somehow this maester gives you the letters that he has been keeping for ages. And somehow, when tragedy falls, these letters lead you away. Am I to believe this is luck? Coincidence? Or something else, Adeline? What is happening?
She'll just stare at you, just like lock eyes. It's like, if you're implying something, just say it, Master.
I am asking you, what is this about? What were in these letters?
I have no idea what these letters mean. When I got there, there was nothing but a gravesite dug, a piece of metal with my name on it, and the symbol of dragons carved into the trees. I wish I knew what was going on. I don't know. The only thing I know is my half of the Tarla might be dead. Half the family's been poisoned. And I don't know what's going on, Master.
Look at me. I don't know what's happening, but I do believe you. But everyone knows about these letters. They saw you getting them, saw you getting agitated about them and leaving on the day. I summoned you and I am speaking to you about them. Did Allegra do that? Did Jamie do that? Did they speak to you? Why do you think that is?
At this point, I'm going to interrupt. We are entering into an intrigue at this point, as you both have agendas. And to just make sure it's fair in what we are establishing, we're going to treat this as an intrigue.
Okay.
So, Nuno, you don't have to tell me what your agenda is, but you need to have it clear in your mind. At the end of this conversation, I want this to be the case.
Okay.
And the same for you, Shauna. At the end of this conversation, I want this to be the case. Nuno, you're head of house, and we're going to say that you were going first because you've led this conversation.
I have the thingy that lets me go first anyway. The benefit, I think.
Okay.
What's it called?
That's fine. So you're going first. So if you bring up your cheat sheet, let me grab mine. So I've got it in front of me. You need to just have a brief look and consider what your disposition is, very first of all, towards Shauna. Not Shauna, towards Adeline. And then consider your technique. I'd like you then to do your role play.
Okay.
Of that, and then we'll make the roll. As a result of your role play, we may award you bonus dice for an extra convincing argument. Okay. Which is why we do the roll after, and then we'll kind of resolve that roll. So when you've kind of decided what you're doing, role play it out for us, and we'll resolve it.
Okay. I think I got it. Getting back. Why do you think that is? If everyone noticed, why didn't they speak to you? Why didn't they ask you what's going on? It's time to come clean. All of us. need to be honest with each other. You need to show us what you got from this person. That we don't even know if it's this deceased person or someone else trying to play us, trying to blame you. You need to tell us exactly what happened before. What's your relationship with this person? And why the brothers are coming after you? And exactly everything you found. All the letters, all the information. Because if we keep secrets from each other, then how are we going to find the truth? How are we going to find Tarla and figure out who did this?
And Esther, I am going to award you 1 bonus dice for that, as you hit on a lot of sensitive subjects for Adeline.
Ooh.
And so I'd like you to make your roll.
Okay.
I'm assuming this is a convince.
This is indeed a convince, yeah.
Okay, so it will be a persuasion convince.
All right, so with
As you
an
attempt to
added
influence
bonus.
Adeline.
Okay. 17.
And then what do I roll?
You don't roll. This will be against
Okay.
your intrigue defense.
Okay, that definitely beat it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So on a 17, how far above your intrigue defense is that? Don't forget though, Shauna, to wait. The subtraction from the next bit. Never mind. Yeah. How high above your intrigue defense is that?
That is 8.
8 points. Okay, so that is 2 degrees of success.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam, remind me with our crits how they work. Is it when it's over double? Right? Over double the
Yeah,
intrigue
so
defense?
if you roll double someone's intrigue defense, take a look at the second page, friends, because you've got some critical hits that we've translated over from the combat rules. So you can get some bonuses to your base kind of composure damage that you deal. You can inflict some automatic frustration on people. They can lose their status from their intrigue defense if you're that good, or you can just straight up influence your target automatically if you're amazing. So there's all sorts of stuff. Basically,
Okay.
Is this double your intrigue defense?
It is not. It is very close, but almost.
Very close.
But no.
Not. Okay.
Yikes.
Perfect. So just bear that in mind, like as we go through to check out those crits, because that is a new thing that we're doing. We haven't tried out properly yet, but it should speed things up a little bit. So with 2 degrees of success, on a convince, you deal. It's based on your will rank. Correct. Yes, will rank.
Yep.
So you will deal 2 times your will rank in damage to Adeline, and don't forget that you can soak with your disposition, Adeline.
Okay, disposition is...
So if it's affectionate, you'll soak 1. If it's friendly, you soak 2. Indifferent 3, and so on down the list.
I think friendly,
Okay, so what was
It's
the
a total
damage you
of-
did? Tina?
Total
Okay.
of 4. Soak 2, so 2 total.
2. So reduce that from your composure, Adeline.
Okay.
And
Got
now
it.
it's your turn.
Ooh, okay. Yeah, well... Of course. Yeah. The reason I didn't bring that up because it was honestly something I did not want to bring up in front of others. It was something that nearly broke me when I was younger. I didn't want it to be discussed. I figured I could figure it out on my own, see if it was something that was a plot against our family. And I will agree with you, it was bad judgment. But I will not allow my loyalty to this family be questioned. You've lost people. I've lost people. My father died at the same battle that yours did. You think I would do that to Tarla, Aster? You think I would do that to her?
Okay. Shauna, I would like to give Adeline 2 bonus dice for that because that was very convincing to my mind. Susie can be an independent adjudicator. So you're getting 2 bonus dice to your roll. I'm going to take it this is also a convince.
This is a convince. Yep.
Okay, so roll your persuasion convince, add 2 bonus dice to that.
This is persuasion, right? Considered.
Yes.
Okay, so this is angry.
Unless you're lying.
No, this is no. I asked because I have the
Do you want to use
flaw
intimidation?
furious.
Okay.
I think by default I have to. I think.
Okay.
Yeah, like she's mad. She's.
I like that. I can see that
yeah.
you're convincing with your intimidation. You are angry.
It's like
you were there.
I don't think she expected to be questioned, like to be responsible for this. Like she expected to be blamed for not telling. She didn't expect to be blamed for doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is that? Persuasion?
That makes sense to me. Persuasion
Okay.
plus your intimidate plus 2 bonus dice, but you cannot exceed your base persuasion ability number and bonus dice. Do you see what I
Okay,
mean?
that sounds good.
So if persuasion is 4, you can't have more than 4 bonus dice rolled.
Okay, give me 1 second. I need to get the somehow. I just need to get the roller thing back.
Yeah, no worries. This is only our second intrigue in the game, so bear with us as we practice it, but
Yep.
it's fun.
Okay. Those bonus dice help because I do not have any. 11.
Ooh, that is my
That's a-
defense.
That is the. It's almost the best I
Okay,
can do.
that is 3 of success. What is your will, Adeline?
My will is 3.
Okay, so that'll be 3. Don't forget, Nuno, you reduce that by your defense rating. Your disposition rating, sorry.
Yeah, which is friendly as well.
Okay, so that goes down to 1 composure damage against yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think at the end of her statement, she hits the table and just stands up.
Okay.
You feel that anger.
How tall is Aster? By the way?
How tall is Aster? Probably like meter 75, meter 7, something like that. Not very tall.
Okay.
Whatever
About
that is in
5'7".
feet. Sorry, folks.
Okay, yeah, like me being the American, like me, meters. She's like 5. She's like, I think Alan's slightly taller. I think she's like 5'9".
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, just kind of looking a little bit down at you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing the agitated state that Adeline is, Aster is going to finally turn from the window and just not even bothered by the height difference, just put his hand on the desk as well and just stand square and face Adeline. First of all, if I called you here, it wasn't to accuse you. If it was to accuse you, I would have guards surrounding this place. I called you here because I want to know what happened, and I want you to stop putting yourself in bad positions. Everyone will come to the conclusion that you've betrayed us if they think a little bit. It's a logical step. And as I said, that might be why no one else from the family talked to you about it. So, do it. Come clean. Take the first step. Find them. Call me as well. Pretend this conversation didn't happen. And show us that you didn't do it. You don't need to prove me. You need to prove them. Do you hear me? And lower your tone.
Juicy. All right, 2 bonus dice as Asta hits deep wounds.
Oof. There will be an insight from my part,
Okay.
I think.
Yep, you are
Driving
inciting
Adeline to
Adeline
action.
to take action. Yep. And I don't think there was any deception in that whatsoever.
No. Oof. 24.
Oof. And I see 4 6s. No.
Ouch.
Nice.
Why?
Damn.
Hey, Nuno, quick question. Why couldn't you do that to not die?
What
I
was
don't
that
know.
before?
Asta has awoken.
Oh,
He is
damn.
now lord of this house. And you shall all bow before him.
4 6s
Yep.
is pretty meaty on the crit chart. Let me tell
That's
you.
a, that's like
It is.
that's a. Mm-hmm.
So that is more than double your intrigue defense, correct, Shauna? For
Oh.
Adeline?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We find the crit shot.
Yeah, I need to see what this.
If it's
All
sure
right.
if it's not, if your combat defense is, intrigue defense is 9, then that's 4
Yeah.
degrees of success.
Yeah.
So,
I guess not.
Nuno, you said your will was 2?
It's for insight is cunning, isn't it?
Oh, sorry.
Uh,
Yes,
sorry,
cunning.
yeah.
You're right.
Is my cunning back to 4, or is it still shaken by the?
It is still
Poison.
shaken.
Okay, in that case, it's 2
Okay, that's fine.
times whatever it is.
So that's 8, right? 'Cause
Okay,
that's 4.
times 4. Yeah.
That's 4. Is that right, Sam? Yeah.
8 times.
But
4 times
because
2
you've
is
got
8.
a bajillion
Yeah.
crits, I'm going to say this is what we are terming crippling words, which is 4 6s. Target loses their status to their intrigue defense until the end of the next exchange. Additionally, Adeline is going to take that 8 intrigue damage. Obviously, reduce that by 2 because of your friendly, so that's 6. How is your composure, Shauna?
Just like barely there.
Okay.
Like barely there.
All right. So
Wait, the
Shauna, it's Adeline's turn. Go ahead.
Oh, the damage reduction for 2. Okay, there we go. Yep, that's right.
All right. Jonathan
Yeah.
Fry is correcting my maths. Because of the crits, it
Mhm.
does actually do 24 composure damage according to Don's math.
There we go.
I'm not sure
Why,
that's how it
though?
works. Though.
They don't
Hmm.
stack. You just
Do they
get
not
one
stack?
of the
Oh, they
things.
don't stack. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just gain.
Where's the 4 from? Even shouldn't it just be 2
So
times 4.
if you get lower results of 6s, so if you get a 1 6 or 2 6s, then you'll increase the base amount
Gotcha.
and then multiply that base amount. But we got 4 6s, so the only result is
Yeah.
that status loss. Is
Crippling
what
words.
I was going to. I think that's how it
Okay.
works.
Yeah.
We'll go
Makes
with that
sense.
for now. So we'll say that Adeline, you are seriously shaken by these words, driven to take action because that's what you're being told to do. But you remain in this intrigue, and it's your turn.
Okay.
We will triple check how that works, but that's how it's going to work for tonight.
Fine. I'll do it. Just say when. It can be now. Anytime you can just gather them. I'll tell everything. The reason why I didn't say anything is because I've been too busy looking for your sister. I did not see what has been happening taken that way. I'm sorry, Esther. If this will take the side of blame off of me and focus on whoever did this, fine. Everything. Everything. That's what you want. And she'll kind of like, that momentary burst of like anger just kind of subsides. She kind of like, she's been kind of like barely holding it together. Maybe that's why she kind of like just went, so she's just kind of like, you kind of see how tired and how like worn out she is. She's just kind of slumping, and she's not even like making eye contact at the moment. She's just kind of like been so beaten down by this. Like, what's been going on? Are
you yielding the conversation, or are you making an attempt to convince still?
I think I'm yielding. I don't think like she's not trying to get any like bargain out of this.
Okay.
Like, I think it's just the fact she got like blindsided by it.
Okay, so what you could do then is withdraw, which is a will dedication test, and the result replaces your intrigue defense until the end of the next exchange. Basically, you're withdrawing to try and steel yourself a little bit more to give yourself some more strength to continue. You could do that if you like. Or you could make an additional comment to make this into a convince, that you're trying to convince them of something. I feel like you're halfway there with what was said.
Yeah, I think she'll...
That's not what you thought was going on, but you get it.
Yeah. If the others are... If they think I did this, I am... You know how they are when they get their way. When they think something's happening. They're formidable, and... If you... know that I didn't do this, you're gonna have to be at my side for this, because this could go badly. They have Allegra's family are formidable. And I want to be there when we find out who did this. I don't want to be dead or in a cell and not help us figure out who did this.
Okay, with that argument, I'm giving you 2 bonus dice. As you point out, you were busy looking for Tarla, and you are convincing in that you didn't understand that was how that was going to be read, and you're going to make amends, so that's why I would say bonus dice.
Okay, this is persuasion still?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would say this is convince.
Okay. That makes 9.
9.
No. Defense is 11.
So it doesn't persuade you anymore. But if narratively, Asta, you want to say, you hear the words, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So I think, given the mechanical result as well, Aster would probably reply something along the lines of, "Look, Adeline, I believe you, and if your arguments are what I believe they are, and nothing in these letters is incriminating, then of course I will be by your side. But if there's something incriminating, then we'll have to evaluate it. But don't worry. If what you say is true, and I do believe you, you have nothing to worry about. The others, they play carefully and cautiously. But they are no idiots. If they see something is true, and that we're working together, then they'll believe you as well. Don't worry. Now, take one of the sketches from the table. This is the best I could do from memory. See if it helps. Fold it and give it to Evelyn.
I'll see to it right away. Thanks for telling me. This won't happen again.
I hope not. And remember, this needs to come from you. So gather your letters, rest, and summon us all. This never happens. Understood?
Certainly.
Good.
Okay. I don't think we need to do a roll. I think that's a good compromised end to the intrigue. With Asta, essentially, I think getting what Asta wants in the way that Adeline will interpret it. So, I'd like to pan across to Allegra and the letter you received by Raven. Your daughter Danella remains in the Maester's chambers. Asta, I think, would have been moved to his own room by now. Kind of sharing out rooms as kind of dead have been removed and sick are either dying or getting better. Where would Allegra read this letter?
I think that she would... I think she'd actually go to where Danella's staying and read it through. I don't think she would read it out loud at first, but, you know, she would tell Danella this was a letter from home.
Okay. And so, sitting on the cot with your daughter, you unravel the tiny letter carried by Raven. And this is what it says. Oh, hold on. Small error, bear with. There we go.
To my beloved Allegra, please, send me word. Tell me that you're still alive and that I can come to you. I have sent word on to Rohanna, and I have petitioned King's Landon for aid. I know in me heart, Allegra, that I'll see you again soon, and Danella too, and you'll be here, safe, at home, with me and the children. Until then, my love, wander only so far as I can still find you. Your forever devoted, Giannis.
And I think Allegra just reads it and rereads it, and she like hugs Danella tight, and then plots her a response to him to be like, "Hey boo, didn't die. It's all good. Don't worry, we're fine."
Okay, that letter is now on the Wild Anvil, so if you want to read over any of the details, it's there for you. The other letters will be added to Wild Anvil later on, either tonight or tomorrow when I get to it. So you sit and your reply. Panning now to Asta's room, there is a knock on the door. This is shortly after Adeline has left. How do you respond to the knock?
Yes. Come in.
And into the room steps Velian Will. He looks in improved health compared to the last time you remember seeing him. And he closes the door quietly behind him. My lord, I am glad to see that you are healing.
Thank you. Likewise.
Tell me it wasn't you.
It was not me or anyone in my family.
And he narrows his eyes. And I need you to make either a persuasion convince or a deception convince, depending on whether you're telling the truth or not.
Okay.
If you believe it is someone in your family, then you would be lying.
Yes. 16.
Okay. He takes it in a breath and nods. I have thought much over the last few days about what could have happened and who it could have been. I do not believe it is you, but I needed to hear it.
Understandable, Lord Will. And I'm sure you won't mind if I ask, was it you?
And he shakes his head almost immediately and asks, you think I would poison myself and my brother?
But a second ago, you thought I would poison mine.
All right. And he comes to your bedside, and he kneels down so that you're eye level. I will make the roll. Got my little dices here in my hand. Okay. He also rolls a 16 as he says to you, I did not poison you, your family, Lord Aberon Bywater, his men, my family. But I promise you, I will find who did.
Good. Now, there's two ways we can go about this. You can go out and find out who did this, and I can go out and find out who did this. Or, two minds think better than one.
My lord, it is my intention to take my brother south to Dawn, to see our healers and to recover, to seek word if this is my sister's doing. And there's nothing hidden about the disdain he has for his sister.
Very well.
But, my lord, I came to you to buy horses. Tell me, do you still have the best horses in the Crownlands?
Yes. We still do.
How many do you have?
We have 11 at the ready.
And how much will you ask for them?
Wait.
Okay.
I had the prices somewhere and I lost it.
And he's kind of stood back up and he paces the room towards the small window, looking out across the muddy stretch of land that belongs to the Tremaines, and then back to you. Consider, friend, what we have both lost here. Consider that we are friends now. And he's attempting to make a persuasion bargain to get you to reduce the price that you're about to quote him. So I will roll that for you.
Okay.
Oof, 11.
Okay.
So bear in mind your intrigue defense and consider whether that succeeds or fails. And then
that is exactly 11.
Okay, so that will succeed.
I think it succeeds, right? Yeah.
I think so. We'll say it does.
Okay.
Because we're near the end of the game. Okay.
Okay. Well, a common tourney palfrey would cost you 150 stacks. These ones, as you've seen, are not your ordinary palfrey. But, obviously, you are right. We are now working together to find out what happened here and to take revenge. So, if being able to provide you with these horses for a cheaper price will help us achieve that goal, then I shall do it. Let's call it normal price for a spectacular horse. 150 stacks per horse.
He considers for a moment and then offers out his hand.
Do the same.
We are brothers now. Brothers in war. And
Brothers in suffering. Yeah.
And then he kind of half smiles at your comment. But there's kind of a drawn look to his eye. And he reaches down to his side and he pulls out a sack of coin and puts it on your table. Wow, guys, the flinch was real. And he will leave. It's probably about a third of the coin, but the rest will be brought to you by his men.
Sure. Over
the next kind of hour or so, as he does in fact pack up his retinue to leave. Bastian is kind of tied to a horse, essentially, still basically unwell and suffering. And the wills ride out from Famine's hold, and you are paid for your horses, having successfully made a deal and an alliance with the brothers. And that is where we will end today's session. Nuno, you may refresh your spent destiny point.
Yes!
Yes.
We will resolve next week Jamie and Allegra's plan to leave, Allegra's letters that she wishes to write, and any other actions you wish to take. We will assess agendas at the beginning of next session because we are right on time today. I'd like to thank everyone who has come to chat, all of our raiders, all of our familiar friends, and all of our new friends. Please do join our Discord where we discuss lots of things, including intrigue, cheat sheets, and our system. As you can tell, we're still, this is a newish game. We're only 5 episodes in. We're still playing with them and testing our new rule set. So we'd appreciate you being there. And if you want to check out that rule set, you will be able to do so on our Patreon this week at some point when it gets uploaded. But it is coming, I promise you, this week. That's our Patreon. 100% of our Patreon does go to paying our costs, along with 50% of donations. And a big thank you to all those who have donated, including Lady Purple, Architect Origins, and Frax today. Let's go around. Let's hear what all of our crew's favorite moments of today are and where we can find them on the internet. And let's begin with Susanna Grace.
So first of all, Jonathan Fry, is it your mission to make me cry in every single game we play? Because, hot damn, that was amazing. Dang, that was my favorite bit. Also, Asta not dying, I guess. And thank you, fam, for not mentioning that part of my agenda wasn't to see where Tarla was, because I completely forgot, because I'm a terrible big sister. But hey, we're alive, mostly. And F's in chat for Uncle Aberon. My Game of Thrones uncle curse does continue. Do not ever be my uncle in Game of Thrones. You will die. But thank you, Charlie, for being an amazing GM. Thank you, my fellow cast members, and thank you, chat. I look forward to screening in Discord with you about this. As for me, I'm Susie, otherwise known as Susanna Grace, variety streamer, does video games, art streams, tabletop RPGs. You've heard this a million times, but you'll next see me tomorrow on my channel for The Witcher RPG, Grains of Truth, where I play the fabulous sorceress, Lady Isabelle Juliette Marie de Leoncourt. And on Wednesday, you'll find me here on Encounter Roleplay GMing Zweihander, Betrayal of Rat Home now, I guess. Where they're gonna go fight some rats in a pit, maybe. Viva la Ratvolution.
Viva la Ratvolution.
Stop
There's
it.
a deep wheel in the dirt. I've had that song going around my head all week. Okay, Nuno.
Yes, hi. I wasn't expecting this to go so well. But it did kind of go well, except for the 17 people that have died, or anyway, doesn't matter. Whoops. But I think my favorite moment was actually the conversation between Allegra and Uncle. It was like so honest and pure and cute for Allegra that like just exudes this personality of like, I am Allegra and look at me. But no, so sweet. I loved it. It was amazing. As for myself, I'm Nuno. You can find me online at jnunotex. I stream things, I write things, I organize events, and I shout into the endless void that is the internet. So, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, whatever you want, and I'll be there shouting. Up next in 1 hour and 30 minutes, I'll be over at the Chromatic Chimera Twitch channel playing my elusive mastermind rogue, Kerith, in an Eberron 5e campaign. So if you want to stick around, do that.
Awesome, thank you so much. And Shauna.
I'm glad I survived. I did not see Adeline's like perceived guilt being a thing, or did I? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I like. Oh, the letter was great. I loved the fact that the two that Jamie and Allegra start like kind of like defense plotting for the family. I love that stuff. It's great. But yeah, yeah, definitely a lot of stuff to figure out. Like there's a lot more letters. I'm scared. I'm scared now. But yeah, I'm Shauna Flying Cirrus on Twitter, where I have all my the games I'm going to be playing throughout the week as pin tweet, as well as the art. I've been posting art that I've done similar to the ones that are on this stream, and then maybe one for the placement for Tarla. I don't know. But you'll catch me next on the Onyx Path channel in about 3 hours. We're playing Sail by Streetlight, a Chronicles of Darkness game where basically we have aggroed every supernatural group, from vampires to fae to werewolves, and because we are dumb college students, we don't know better, so we'll see how that goes.
And Sam.
Hello, fam. Thank you so much for tonight's game. It was awesome. I very much enjoyed searching through the tunnels with Adeline. That was awesome. Very evocative and very cool. I enjoyed playing specifically with Adeline as a character because we hadn't had much interaction yet. It was really cool. So I am Sam. You can follow me on the internet at RPG Webby. You can also follow us at Follow Black Cats here on the Twitch and the Twitters. Where we play the sister campaign to this game, After the Fire, which is what kind of born this campaign out. So we're a couple of seasons in, we're in our third season. We are playing through to the culmination of this current little kind of story arc. And there's all kinds of juicy fruits going on. Because there's a lot of new faces in chat, I think. We had quite a good kind of audience tonight, so I want to kind of push you over to that side of things, because Charlie gets to play, Susie also gets to play as a completely different character, and it is super awesome fun, and I get to GM. So head over to Follow Black Cats for that. We play every Thursdays, 3 p.m. EST, that is 8 p.m. GMT. For loads of juicy fruits. We have VODs on the YouTubes as well. Black Cats, something or other. I can't remember what the YouTube is, to be honest with you. Susie's probably going to slap me from via the internet for that. But yeah, thanks again, Charlie. That was freaking awesome as a session. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions, please do head over to the Discord. We will be over there in the Crownlands Song of Ice and Fire chat. If you're on the YouTube, please leave them down below. And thank you so much for watching this VOD. We appreciate you so much. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Nothing more to say beyond we will be back online here at Encounter Roleplay tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, returning to London for the Fall of London, brand new chronicle from Modiphius and Paradox Entertainment for Vampire the Masquerade. So if you like vampires, if you like darkness, if you don't get enough of it from Shauna's game tonight, head on over tomorrow to check out Will and the crew as madness, darkness, and murder descends upon London in 2012. And also, if you want a little bit more of this before Thursday, on Wednesday for Roleplay Roundup, I will be doing essentially a prep stream where you, the chat, can help me decide on a few details, flesh out a few houses, and see Wild Anvil be fleshed out for this campaign, the Crownlands. That is at 5 p.m. Eastern, immediately after Susanna Grace's Vihanda campaign, Betrayal of Ratholm. Hope that's enough to whet your appetites. We will see you very soon. Try not to roll too many nat ones, because we'll be calling you Nuno if you do. Good night, friends.